500 Sutherland Avenue, 37919. Come on down if you feel like it. We're doing once a month right now.
Okay.
All right, I'm Patrick, and we just had a quick question about BitConnect and these lending places. Okay.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about lending and lending coins, okay, this is very tricky. Do we think BitConnect's a Ponzi scheme? You're going to lose all your money eventually, guaranteed. 100%.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I think it's all hard to say myself personally. But
okay, this is this is the
Maybe
good
that's
and the
true.
bad.
If you keep it in there.
Yes, correct. And this is
pull it out,
there
you
are
can
certain ways.
pull it out, yeah.
There are certain ways to possibly scam BitConnect, and I've thought about it
know
long and
about
hard
how to do
how
it,
to
yeah.
how to do this, how to make money off BitConnect. Because I'm like, man, there's a lot of money. And the first thing is it ethical to take money from people on BitConnect if they're going to lose it all eventually? The question is, well, do I let BitConnect have it or do I just take my share of it? That's the ethical question, okay? You got to come to grips with yourself on that. But in general, are you going to be able to look at your friend over here? You said, hey, join BitConnect, and he loses all your money, and then you walk away with a lot of money. Are you going to be able to live with yourself with that? I'm okay with that because I'm not a big proponent of BitConnect, and I'm not going to tell people to get under my pyramid scheme. So, how do you do it? Well, if you lend money in BitConnect, you have to lend it for 120 days. Okay, you buy BitConnect coins. So let's just think about this. How does it work?
Is this the same with USI Tech?
Almost all of them are the same, built the same way. You lend money. If they're giving you 1 or 2% a day, there are some where you lend
120
Bitcoin.
days is a long time for BitConnect.
If you lend coins and it says like 0.1% return, that's probably legitimate. Because I would do the same thing. Hey, give me your Bitcoin. I'll give you 0.1% return on your Bitcoin, and it's gone up to 14,000 from 5,000. Now you gave me $4,000 for it. I only have to give you what, $40 a day for for the amount of days you lend it to me. Let's just say 100 days. I got to pay you $4,000 on all the Bitcoin you lent me, and it's gone up $7,000. I'll take that deal. That might be legitimate. The question is about BitConnect. They pay 1%. So when you start doing the math, a lot of people online do these fuzzy math scenarios where they say, hey, this is how it goes. But really, you give them your Bitcoin and you get BitConnect coins, okay? So we're going to do easy math on this. Let's just say every BitConnect coin's worth $1 when you lend it. You give them $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. You now get 1,000 BitConnect coin, right? So I have 1,000 BitConnect coin and I lend it to them, and they're paying me BitConnect. They're paying me cash money every day, 1%, right, on my 1,000. So I get what, $10 a day, right? And we're gonna say for 100 days. So that gives me $1,000 I made over 100 days. Okay. So now I have $2,000 in cash, and I want to cash out. Well, this is how you cash out. They pay you back in BitConnect coins. But if the BitConnect coins are now worth $10, let's just say that now, and 2,000 now, instead of I have 1,000 BitConnect coins. Now I have how many BitConnect coins? If they're worth $10 a piece, $10 divided by 2,000, I have 200 BitConnect coins that I get back. Does everyone understand that now I have less BitConnect coins, but they're worth more cash value? Correct. So what happens is who's deciding the price of BitConnect coins? Well, they run their own exchange. You can't buy BitConnect coins on other exchanges. So if I run an exchange and I own the exchange and I can fluctuate the price the way I want to, then I can make BitConnect coin prices go up or stay stable at any time I want. And I'm always paying you back with BitConnect coins, and then you can trade it for Bitcoin, right? So how is the price decided? It's supposed to be supply and demand. But if you control the only exchange where it's bought and sold on,
It's closed.
it's closed, basically. And I own all the BitConnect coins. I don't know how many BitConnect coins there are. They can tell me how many BitConnect coins there are. I don't know. So they can make more BitConnect coins at any point.
That is the real question with BitConnect that I don't know. Like, so with Bitcoin, there is the fixed supply. They always talk about this 21 million. When you create these systems, if you create it correctly, then it should have a fixed supply. I don't know if BitConnect does or not.
Yeah.
So USI Tech doesn't have their own coin. Maybe they have tokens or something, but they operate in Bitcoin.
They can, and that's what I'm saying. It all depends on % out a day, just 1%. It's unfathomable. And the reason I say it's unfathomable is it's okay when Bitcoin's going up. You can pay 1% a day easily. As soon as Bitcoin goes down, which it will go down, up and down in the marketplace, and
As
people
it
want to
does.
cash out, because it does. It goes up and down.
Mhm.
It's gone up recently a bunch.
Mhm.
But it's going to go down and up, right? So what happens when Bitcoin price goes down on this thing and they're paying out 1% a day, right? You're talking about somebody invested, let's just say $100. How long does it take to pay that 1% a day out? When are you going to overreach your number for Bitcoin, right? So when is Bitcoin not going to outpace that 1% a day? Because once it stops outpacing it, they're losing money, but you're still gaining money. And the only way they're gaining money is by more people putting more money in.
Right.
So eventually it will fail. BitConnect will fail, and that's fine. But the question is, can you make money off BitConnect while it's not failing, before it crashes? So that's the question. The real way to maybe do it is buy BitConnect coins and don't lend them out. Just hold them. And then you sell them whenever you want, because they're fluctuating the price up and down. And maybe they're making the price go up and up and up for BitConnect coins, and you hold BitConnect coins. And then when somebody wants to come in and get BitConnect coins, you sell them. But the question is, are Bitcoin coins going to outpace Bitcoin? And that's a question of your own purpose. If you bought BitConnect coins right when it first started, they were like 10 cents a piece, and then they shot up to $2.50. Well, that hurt people who lended their BitConnect coins. They actually lost money on the deal. But if I held all my BitConnect coins and now they're worth $250, I made, ungodly amount of money. Do you see how that works? But if I lent them and then I sell all my cash that they supposedly give you for BitConnect coins, and maybe I only own 250 of them, I only get one BitConnect coin back.
So do they let you do that?
Yes, they do let
let
you
you
do
hold
that.
them?
Yes, you can. But it is a risky business, in my
Right.
opinion. Very
Right.
risky.
BitConnect is a confusing coin, I know that, yeah. But did that answer your question as to what you were talking about?
Yeah, pretty much.
But it's a
But-
closed market. You can still make money, and I'm going to tell you this. I don't think it can fail in the next year. So if you really want to throw some money in there, just say hell of it, like throw in $1,000 and ride BitConnect for 120 days, I would be fine with that. If you're willing to say, I'm willing to risk this $1,000 and lose it. That's the question. Because you will make that $1,000 back. But the question is, you can lose it all.
But yeah, did that answer your question, man?
Yeah. My curiosity is more with USI Tech, just because I know more.
USI Tech, so what's
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, I'll
It's
look it
similar-
up. But if
It's
it's
a similar coin? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's very similar, but they
It's
do it
hard
with
to know,
Bitcoin
yeah.
and not.
Yeah.
They don't have their own thing.
Yeah, it depends. And
But it's
sometimes
probably-
you can.
It sounds a lot the same. You still bring people in under your.
Yeah,
team
I
and
mean,
stuff.
if it's the same kind of deal, it's the same deal.
Yeah.
But there are some where you actually can legitimately lend your Bitcoin. You don't get near payouts, and you can lose your money. Someone else is holding your Bitcoin. Just know that. I mean, that's like, I'm going to give them $150,000 worth of Bitcoin, and I get a little bit of return on it, and I get my Bitcoin back, but still they hold my Bitcoin. At any time you're like, I need my Bitcoin, you can't get your Bitcoin. And that's another reason where you can't trust things is if they hold your stuff for a certain amount of days where you can't retract it, that's always a little sketchy, just in general. But I'm just telling you, I just consider that a little sketchy is when somebody holds my Bitcoin, gives me this coin.
So that's the same with having money in the bank and
correct, and it defeats the purpose of the whole
the
I own my
dollar
Bitcoin.
goes down and yeah, they give me the dollars back, but it's half the value.
It's worth less, exactly. I know.
So what's the difference there?
Yeah,
Right.
We're going to talk about the faulty points of Iota real quick.
You want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, you go ahead.
All right, so we have the positive, right? The Internet of all
Well,
things, and we're gonna rule the
yeah.
world, right? Because that's Iota's main roadmap is we rule the damn world. I'm just
Well-
putting it out there. Their roadmap is saying everything you buy and everything you transact, whether it be electricity, commodities, money, currency, anything, is through Iota. Everything. So it has to displace everything. Will it have a corner of the market? Maybe. It could. But with platforms, when he's talking about completed that yet. This is all on the roadmap that they're going to
Yeah, they
eventually.
got 500 right now,
500,
which
but
is more than anyone else.
I know, but this
Second.
is what we're talking about.
A second?
Yeah.
Yeah, 500, but they're talking about plasma coming out real soon in Casper. They're talking about it, so it's all talk. It'll be
Right.
1,000. So now they've doubled Iota.
Maybe.
So
Yeah.
it is, but that's all planned future stuff. Is it real? Not yet. Is Iota real? They can handle everything? No, it's not real. So when we talk about real stuff that Iota has, They have a different style of network, which is the Internet of All Things, a new idea, which is definitely awesome. They have backing by Microsoft. They're getting backing by Fuji. They're getting backing
Fuji.
by these companies.
Fujitsu.
But what people don't understand is Microsoft has their foot in like 10 cryptos. They've given $1 billion to a lot of people because they're just like us. Why are we going to put all our money in one pot? They're not. They don't want to be, Microsoft doesn't want to sit there and go like this and be the Sears of the .com business, where Sears is like, nope, we don't need a web page. And then Amazon's like, we're selling books. And then all of a sudden Amazon's like, oh, we'll sell, you know, tools. And Sears is still over here, we're shipping out catalogs.
Yeah.
And Amazon is selling tools, and now they're selling everything. And now Bezos is like the richest person in the world, and Sears is now what? Going bankrupt and out of business because they're now trying to do online buying and selling. So the question is, a lot of people are putting a lot of money in different pots. So when you see Iota go way up, it's because they got more money and more backing. People really didn't like them. Why? Because their developers are kind of assholes, just to put it honest. Right, Killer?
Well, so
Kind of.
Yeah, so the main developer of Iota, he's an old boy, which is good, in my opinion. He didn't get into crypto last year or 2 years ago. He's been in crypto a good 5 years or more. He does have a strong personality, as most of the people who've been in crypto 5 years ago, they do have strong personalities. He has and so...
That's a David?
David, yes. David, yeah. You can...
So he's what? He's Finnish? Or Finland? Or?
Well, they're from Berlin. I think they're based in Berlin, but I don't know where he's from.
His name? So stable.
You keep these.
Not very German. No.
Yeah. No, probably not. No. But
We'll just say he has a strong personality.
But yeah, and he gets into some arguments with other people in the blockchain space. And then also, since Iota is effectively trying to replace all blockchains versus competing with blockchain, you know, all people in blockchain are against his technology, since he's competing with everything else.
Correct. And then that's another I consider to be a downfall of Iota, is he's directly competing against all blockchain. Other people are working together with blockchain. So the question is Iota going to replace all blockchain? Or is other blockchains going to exist? And the question is, I don't know. It could. If it does what it says it can do, it will replace all blockchain because it is better. But I don't know how realistic it is. What if Ethereum comes out and has all these people and everyone starts using it and Iota's better and it doesn't get adopted? That's happened millions of times in our life.
Right.
That something has a better product.
So it also has to be put into hardware, and so all the hardware people have to be behind it also. Otherwise, it's not going to happen.
And that's what we're talking about as a downfall. Do I consider Iota a great project? You should invest in it. Yes, I really do. If you have some money to throw in there, I would. Like I'm going to. And we'll wait till it dips down again.
Right. Yeah.
But I will invest in Iota. Why? Because it's a totally different technology. And if it wins, I don't want to be sitting there with all my Ethereum looking at Iota.
I want to get a little bit at least.
So it's like VHS and the other one.
Betamax.
Betamax. So that's what they're doing. They're one competing, and it's going to see like who's going to end up with.
And that's what happens in all technologies. When you talked about like even things that we in our lifetime, there's things that are out there that are better, like the iPod. Versus there was some Samsung ones that were better. But guess what? Everyone adopted the iPod. The iPod took off, so that's what happens. And it happens.
Yeah, marketing's a big deal.
So that's Iota.
So I'll go into some more about it. So when you're using it on your own, when you download their little blockchain, and mostly speaking to Alex, just you know, or whoever's going to actually
I'd like
download
to do it.
Yeah, because you do need to be aware of it. Okay, so you download it, you get connected, So in Iota, you don't have a password. All you have is a seed. You don't have a DAT file or anything you keep on a USB stick. All you have is a seed. The seed is just 82 letters or characters or whatever. It's not that long. So
easily rememberable.
So they don't have words like the other ones do?
What now?
They don't have words like the other ones do?
No.
Oh, I don't. You could. You can do it that way, but it's just going to be a little jumble of 82.
Right.
You could do a word method, but I don't know how to do it. But there's a way to do that. But so you get this little seed, and then you download your wallet, you put in the seed. This will create your address. Now your address, this scared me for a good day. Your address will always say 0. No matter how much is in there, unlike Bitcoin and Ethereum, which have the public blockchain that you can read off of or whatever. The Iota, you put in the address, and it doesn't even register when you put it in there. So then there's a little process that's kind of confusing, but it's like you have to send a test transaction.
Yeah, you have to do one transaction. A few things are like this.
Yeah, you have to do a test transaction, and then you're registered, and then your balance will show. So that's what you have to do when you first download it. So if you download it, you put in your seed, it'll look like your normal wallet. It'll always say 0, and you got to do it. And don't freak out.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know.
The other thing that's quite different from Iota versus all the others, like every single other one, your receiving address changes. So every time you send a transaction from your Iota account, the address for people to send you money has changed. It's now changed. So this has screwed a lot of people up because they'll get online and they'll get to their Binance wallet and they'll get on their home wallet and they'll be sending money back and forth. And like with Ethereum and Bitcoin, the addresses never change. But with Iota and Binance, they change every single time you've sent something. So you just have to check that receiving address and make sure it's the same one each time. Until you get used to it.
And this will be a downfall.
Yeah, so supposedly, so long as you're only receiving money, it doesn't change. It's only when you send, then it cancels it and changes it over.
Well, a lot of the wallets will do that anyway. They will change the address.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Yeah, they do that. They're
And,
hopping
it's supposed to be more secure if you do that.
Oh, it's much more secure.
But
Yeah.
they can still find you.
The real
Yeah, right.
The real thing about security, and we'll just talk about that real quick.
Sure.
You just want to talk about security. You can't break into these encryptions. It would take almost 100,000 years to break your encryption.
Yeah,
So how secure is your wallet? 100,000 years worth of security. That's basically what it is. So hopping addresses.
Your what wallet?
Any of your wallet, anything encrypted with anything SHA-256, the elliptical logarithm encryption, all of these are very heavily encrypted. The thing that's a future of encryption where you would want to do hopping addresses is quantum computing, and that is around the corner.
Yeah, that's when it becomes a big deal.
And
that's quantum computing. Calling it around the corner is maybe incorrect, but
3 to 5 years.
But people like Oak Ridge might have 50 million invested in trying to develop it.
Yeah.
So people do want it to occur.
Yeah.
Who knows when it will occur? Maybe it's already happened. Maybe it's 5 years. Maybe it's 20 years. Maybe it's something else.
Well, I keep a good eye on when it's happening and what's new
Yeah,
technology.
right.
I just want to know.
Right.
That means that changes that 100,000 years. Quantum computing, theoretically, 1.5 days until they can crack your encryption.
Stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah.
But then you have quantum encryption.
Yes. That may come out in the future.
Yeah.
So, that's all about encryption, so feel safe about your money. That's what I'm trying to
Right.
reiterate right now. It's
Right.
So
okay.
it's not. So you don't have to really worry about having a dedicated machine that you only use for this and.
No. As long as you don't give your private key out and you don't keep your private key on the computer. The dedicated machine, the reason people do that is because they have $1 million, and if you have a key on your computer and they hack your computer and find your private key on there, the file.
Yeah.
Then they take it. Then they realize what addresses you use by looking through your.
It's generally unlikely you'll actually download a virus software that will actually get your private key off your computer. It's pretty unlikely. The one thing you never want to do is send it over email.
Yeah.
Never send it over email. Never send it over the computer. And by I mean the DAT file or the secret code. Of course, you send your public address wherever, but you never want to send your DAT file over the internet. Storing it on your computer, I think that's fine. You can keep or these hardware wallets, whichever you want to do. I think that's personally all good. I think it's good to have several copies, and I think it's good to teach other people who you're close to how to access it. So your last will and testament, this is all you got here.
Like if Keller dies, I don't know if his girlfriend can access his stuff.
My papa can.
His pop can.
Yeah, so he can get it.
My girlfriend would not know how to access my stuff.
I've tried to show my grandma she'll outlive Papa, right? But we'll see. But she wants nothing to do with it at the time.
Right.
She's all against the crypto. But so like some other and then they cover some other aspects of Iota. So that's and then also when you get this 82 key, instead of you can use the word method, but if you go to Reddit Iota, which I put in there, they have a link to something called like maybe I should write it down, but it's like ispg.org. It's just a long, complicated thing. Okay. But this is where you get your 82 letter key, and you just move your mouse around.
Okay, right.
But there's some people right now, and like there's one guy in particular who's quite popular, and he made a how to get started with Iota guide, and his guide's great until you get to making the key, which goes straight to his computer.
Oh.
So he has this great guide he's giving out to everybody, and then he just steals all their Iota at the very end, at the last step. So anyways, if you go to Reddit, you can get the correct key address. So anyways, and then to buy it, you got to do a Binance account, like we talked about.
Is that going to change?
People say it'll be on Bittrex, one day.
This is what it does. As soon as it does change, this is why you want to go to Binance and buy it now. As soon as it gets on Bittrex, the price will go up.
A lot. Just because a lot of people can buy it, yeah.
Because guess what? I'm not going to go get a Binance account to get Iota. Just to be honest, I won't. I'll call Keller and transfer him some Bitcoin. Because that's what I did last time, right, Keller? I was like, Keller, dude, here's some Bitcoin and buy me some Iota. What?
Is it charged?
Finance
account?
No, it's just
a hassle.
No,
it's just going on making all these accounts.
Yeah, like I have like 6 exchange accounts, all these different wallets. I got like 7 different wallets on my computer.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else on Iota?
Right. Yeah. I didn't get any idea of future tech. I'm good at the moment. Yeah. But yeah, I didn't get anything on the future dates that are coming up. Their big thing. I was trying to think of what the big thing they're trying to get done right now.
The biggest thing is everybody's trying to scale up. That's the big thing.
Well, they've scaled up hugely. They've been hiring a new person every week.
They've been hiring.
A lot of these blockchain people only have 20, 30 people in their entire organization, really.
Or one.
One. They're incredibly small.
And we're talking about a $20 billion company.
So this David guy, he's hired some people who were also doing some other work, and then he's come behind them and he's just fired them, and he said it's all Iota or nothing, you're out. We can't tolerate anybody like doing other work. Well, depending on how you look at it. He's passionate only of Iota. Right. And the Ethereum team, for whatever reason, they really dislike Iota, and they'll just talk smack about Iota all the time. They're smack. So they have this coordinator, which will go away. I don't consider this a real issue, but while the network is relatively small and unused, someone could overpower the network. So they're kind of waiting until basically, like, let's say Fujitsu puts it into all their scanners, and then they'll probably get rid of this coordinator issue. But right now it's a little too small to be it's centralized. Yeah. But but most your blockchains today are this way. Because to get uncentralized, you have to pay like Bitcoin is paying $7 billion a year. Ethereum is paying $5 billion a year. Litecoin and Dashcoin and all the others are paying about $1 billion. So it's quite expensive.
$1 billion what? US dollars?
Yep. So and Iota's just paying nothing. So that's obviously really good for your price.
What they're paying is miners.
Like holding value.
When they give it out, that's actually a dollar value. But it would be
small.
I don't know. I would have to think that it has to stay free, but we'll see. You could be right, but I think it sort of has to stay free just because otherwise machines won't use it. I mean, for machines to send just like 1,000 transactions every day, back and forth.
What does that do?
Even if it's a penny or a fourth of a penny, it's still just too much, I think.
And it also
that's my opinion on that.
So you're paying for that.
But yeah, they've hired about 15 people in the last 2 months. So they got a much bigger staff now.
How does security work? Well, you need miners.
In terms of the value of Iota, it's now like number 4 in the crypto or whatever. So it's quite it's quite expensive to what it was 3 days ago. Right? It was like 70 cents, and now it's $4.50. It's at $5.50, I think, for a minute or whatever.
Paid by new investors.
So in these
Like
kind of
Bitcoin doesn't
situations,
pay
in
for
my
it, but
opinion,
technically overall the
so this
Bitcoin
is usually
currency pays for it.
institutional money
Yeah, okay.
that's coming in. Normal investors don't really think to themselves, you know, oh, Iota's great at like $1. I'm going to pay 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, small timers don't have enough power to like drive the market in that way. So that effectively means some big boy wanted to get in there. So a big boy's in there now. So Iota's going to get a lot more exposure, and over, you know, as we're talking about it now, all the other people who meet, and you know, everybody going to be talking about Iota, and all the people who like said Iota was crap, like the Ethereum people were talking pretty bad about it, but
Yeah, they
all the people who were saying Iota was crap are, you know, kind of having to hide their heads a little bit right now.
But the other side of it is this: as soon as you see an altcoin go up, then when people start taking profits, people usually like to store their profits in Bitcoin.
Right. Yeah. So this is yeah. You do see this, like Iota goes up big time.
Yeah.
It hangs out for a day or two. Bitcoin starts going back up. Like it takes like 2 days, and then everybody's like, "I'm getting into Bitcoin."
Because it's a great store of value.
Yeah.
What
So
happens
that's why I
is
like the
stores.
Bitcoin. Yeah, I like the Bitcoin method.
Because Bitcoin, so Iota's gone up,
Yeah.
and Bitcoin today has gone up like $2,000 roughly.
Yeah. Is that right?
Yes.
2,000 just today?
11.9,
I
it's
haven't even
almost
checked it.
14.
It is 14.
It's 14.
You're
now.
kidding me.
No, Bitcoin went to 14.
Yeah, Killer
14
likes it
O's.
because he's the
Yeah,
mayor of
14.
Bitcoin.
I do.
You're going to Rome tomorrow?
Oh no, I already been. Yeah.
Hey, you made $2,000.
Right, I might go back. Right, yeah, I know, right.
Come back.
No,
He actually
I went to a
feels bad.
Bitcoin meetup in Rome.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Yes,
Cool.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
I've been trying to do that. Like, if I'm traveling, just go to Bitcoin
Sure.
meetups.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
So what language did you understand?
My Italian is not good. My Spanish is deep. Yeah, my Spanish is decent.
Poco.
But everybody in Rome knows English.
Right.
Rome, some areas are more English than others.
Yeah.
Rome is very.
So
English
the only
heavy.
thing about his trip to Rome,
But the
that we have
meetup
to
was good. They have their own Rome coin.
is that Keller had to pay for his trip in Bitcoin, which I feel
Oh
bad
God!
for
I
now.
took out a
No.
Bitcoin right before the trip, so it's like half the night. It's alright. It's like half the night. But yeah,
You gotta make the girlfriend happy.
right.
So,
So, but yeah, so that's everything I had on Iota.
Okay.
all right.
Any questions about that or anything? You know?
No.
Okay.
When you sign up.
As soon as it goes down, we will question you.
Right. There you go. No, yeah. I mean,
So what? It went up because the big guy went in.
Yeah,
Why did that the big guy go in?
Microsoft gave him $1 billion.
supposedly it was
Why?
Microsoft.
Why?
Well, so let's say the people are buying the IOTAs to use for their machines back and forth. So this is where, like, in terms of okay, so when we invest in things, and I'll just say relative to gold or whatever, we invest so that the value goes up. Some people buy things for different reasons, but generally speaking, you invest because the value might go up. And for that purpose, I think I think Bitcoin is great because the marketing advantage of Bitcoin is so significant. But on the other hand, having a little bit of like maybe Bitcoin Cash or something, it might be useful for people. Having a little bit of IOTAs might be useful for people. But this is why I sort of questioned initially, and I sold my IOTA, and shamefully. But I sold my IOTA because so I like that their cost is low. This not having mining fees and stuff is so low. This $7 billion, which investors have to for the price to go up. But their marketing is low, and so that's why I decided to just do Bitcoin. But like for Microsoft, if they're really going to be used in machines, which I do suspect they will be, the only coin used in machines probably. You do have to own some amount in order to get your machines to work. So I guess Microsoft might have bought $1 billion worth of IOTA.
That's what you do. You buy
to
$1
get their
billion worth of
machines.
IOTA. It's worth it.
So
You buy it.
Microsoft bought.
Yes.
This
Microsoft.
is what people are
We
telling
don't
me.
know.
Well, they know
I have not
Microsoft
verified
did
this. I have not verified
heard
this, but this is what people are telling me.
Okay, we
In
haven't
YouTube,
verified
I heard
but
it also.
everybody did,
Microsoft-
Yes, they did.
This is what this is YouTube. So I haven't verified it, but this is what
The rumors are.
This is what everybody's saying.
Oh, it's rumors.
Yeah,
Not
rumors.
really.
Yeah.
These aren't.
Someone bought it. Someone bought a lot.
And they did sign up with Microsoft, but it doesn't mean that they're the ones who invested. But somebody
Right.
did.
Somebody gave him $1 billion at the same time Microsoft said we're joining Iota.
Okay, that's what I thought happened.
Basically,
so
that means
sometimes they're
Microsoft
coordinated, sometimes they're not, and sometimes it's just what it is not Microsoft.
They just go on the announcement too.
Right, and maybe it's just a few tech guys within Microsoft, and they have $1 million saved up, and they were enough money.
So there's no relationship what Microsoft would do with
Iota.
Well, this is what they would do. If I bought $1 billion worth of Iota, let's just say this, it's all for $1. And then in the future, I'm running my machines off of this, and it costs Iota to run my machines and do transactions and buy things with Iota, because that's their plan. I bought it for $1, it's now worth $5, and now I've actually just profit. I can look at my costs when I'm buying stuff. I really spent $1 billion, and I'm buying $5 billion worth of goods and services. And then people are giving them Iota for their goods and services, and they're using it. But you have to have a large cap income of being able to transfer and sell Iota if you plan on the future. That's what it's going to be.
And machines you are referring to what?
Anything like you walk
a printer, a copier, vending machine, maybe a server, maybe a
like one of their.
What has Microsoft to do with that?
They want to get into everything. It's like any company. You want
Microsoft doesn't have those machines.
Correct.
No,
but what if you're running a software?
They run the operating system that some of those machines runs it could be.
Yeah, it could.
There's an embedded Windows.
Yeah. And maybe they want to shift their machines with 5 Iota. Maybe. And so maybe they're buying a lot, and then they'll just price that in. But rather than tell your customers, it's useless until you buy, here's 5. They'll take care of what it
could be.
Because these machines will need, this is the thing, in terms of like driving the value of Iota, these machines only need 10, 5, 20. That's all they need. There's like 2 trillion Iota. So it's hard for me to ever say that the machines will create a scarcity of Iota. But they will create a humongous network.
Keller, what they do is this. Again, like Iota, you're supposed to, in the future, their idea is, I have Iota and I go and I want to buy something that's like a machine, or I want to rent a car, like there's a car sitting on a lot. I can go up my phone with my Iota, pay the 5 Iota, and then I can pick up the car and then also charge the car with the 5 Iota and it transfers to them.
That's why you call it the Internet of Things.
All things.
What they call it that,
of things.
That is.
So
really,
it's everything. So it's
that's
like
what
I have
needed.
And what is
I kind of agree with that too. Money, you sort of have money solved. I think credit cards are pretty decent. They're not the best, but they're decent. Now, having something to replace gold is a big deal, and that's why I like Bitcoin. The basic idea of replacing gold, I think that's a very, very, very big deal. But I'm less inclined in terms of like replacing credit cards. I think credit cards, until someone creates something as simple as a credit card on crypto.
Monero.
Does it have credit cards?
We'll talk about that in a minute.
But
the Internet of all things.
You go for a coffee, you put your phone in it.
Yes, that's
well,
what
Iota will be able to do that, and some other things.
Because here's the this it's in the hands of everybody.
Right.
Around the
world.
world.
You can put it on your phone, then it works.
And that's true. That's what the goal is of Iota is this.
Okay.
It's to be all blockchains. Not one single blockchain. If you understand this, it takes 2 blockchains to do some actions, a lot of actions.
Yeah.
Like delivering goods. It may have a blockchain for that delivery of good. Then you would have a blockchain where you need to go talk to this other blockchain. This blockchain delivers it. Well, this blockchain wants to pay for it. Well, these blockchains have to talk. That doesn't happen now. There are programs and dApps that are supposed to do this. It's called ARC. There's other ones that are supposed to talk to blockchains. And all the blockchains can talk to each other. The Internet of all things wants to replace all that. Why do we need a blockchain talking to another blockchain and something in the medium?
Five.
The Internet of all things wants
Take another beer.
Another beer.
Delivery.
All they want to do is control all of it. They want a 0 fee transaction of all goods and all services. So it is a currency basis, basically a currency for everything.
Well, yeah.
So do you have to, do you have to keep it in their wallet? Is there a way to get your key or something, or how?
You could just make.
How can you secure it?
It's weird. Like
it's not like Bitcoin where you can have you take your key out of the exchange.
No, you can't do that.
It's
so just an 81-digit phrase. That's it.
Yeah.
Or 82, I think.
And
but you do get your own. I mean, you
can make your own key. Yes.
Yeah.
But
they don't have it necessarily.
No one has it.
Right.
Yeah, it's just nowhere.
Okay.
all right.
Okay.
And so
it's not like having your money in exchange, So,
right. Yeah.
Right.
But so let's go around the room a little bit. So, what have you learned about Bitcoin and blockchain lately?
What have I learned?
Or what's something that interests you in Bitcoin and blockchain, or whichever?
The principle behind it, that it's what makes me confused is everybody's only talking about, the U.S. and they're going to regulate. This is beyond the borders of the U.S. I mean, this is worldwide. So whatever they do here, it doesn't matter. It's gonna.
Yes.
It'll hop over the U.S. and it's still a valid thing around the world. That's where I see the power.
Yeah. We can't even decide if Russia has rigged our elections or not. We're not deciding on blockchain.
But so and like China banned Bitcoin and it dropped 30% in value.
But they're still using it.
And then maybe a month later it recovered completely.
Exactly.
It just took no time at all.
Exactly.
Yeah. But so where do you go to get information about it?
I go to Alex.
Yeah.
We've been watching all the
YouTube
YouTube videos.
Yeah, and mostly Andreas.
Andreas videos, I like him, of course.
He's phenomenal.
Yes.
And then Ivan the Tech, he's kind
I like Ivan.
Yeah, he's fun, but Andreas is, I think, the best spokesperson for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency.
I agree. He's the most well put together.
Yes.
Yeah.
He has fairly straightforward points of view.
Exactly.
And analogies.
So he's practiced. I do like
What's
it.
his name?
Andreas, Andreas.
And then just Google Andreas Bitcoin.
Antonopoulos.
Just Google Bitcoin, Andreas Bitcoin, and you'll find it.
I've heard him before. I've heard him on
and I would recommend
all of them.
Supporting him, because he's the one that's been
Patron on Patreon.
On Patreon.
Yeah.
It's just $5,
right,
a month, but
it's
I would recommend doing that.
And then he does
Can you
an
get
hour
Patreon
long
exclusive content?
Maybe.
Well, you get an hour-long Q&A.
Yeah, once a month he's gonna do a Q&A. He had one just now a couple of weeks ago, and it was pretty good. Actually, I watched it. So
yeah.
You gotta
so that was worth
be a part of Patreon, donate to that to see that.
But y'all do Andreas,
simple.
you do Ivan, and anybody else?
I don't. He does all of
them. Tone bass and Jim Song, and I do crypto. What is it?
Crypto news. Omar, no.
He has a deep voice.
Crypto Uncensored.
And I do
Discovery Midnight.
some guy called Martin. All of them are. Or still are or were in the stock market business.
Oh, stock market guys who are in the
there
Bitcoin.
Are several.
My dad prefers them too. He likes to talk to stock market guys.
They give you the chart, and of course the chart says Bitcoin will fall and Bitcoin goes
up. I don't know.
Now, next day the chart, Bitcoin will fall.
Yeah, they're always wrong.
Yes, the correction
always wrong.
Went up again, and so the next day they say, "Oh, I was wrong today, but I was wrong yesterday, but I'm right today." And they say the same thing about that. So I'm having fun with them because they say, "Wow."
Right.
Well, that's the big question that we all have. It's like how do you look at an altcoin and figure out which one to buy? When's the good time to buy? When do you sell it?
For an altcoin?
Is there any kind of something to go by? Any kind of chart analysis or anything that you
the thing is, we can't make any money with Bitcoin.
Well, why?
Because we will not touch it.
Yeah, don't touch it.
Why?
Just hold it.
Because
it's only going to get better.
This is
I just hold
we don't-
Bitcoin.
if you want to know.
Yeah,
this is,
I don't know how.
This is what we're
I
going to
wouldn't
do.
sell it if it yesterday was 12,000, today is 14,000. I
Yeah.
will not sell it tomorrow.
Right, I know, me neither. Yeah, you don't. Yeah,
so
right.
we
you
can
just-
make money with it.
Right,
It's
it's
gonna go down.
going up too much.
So how
This
can
is-
we make
And
money
the
with
question is, what do you
Android?
do if it does go down a bit? You know, do
This
you-
is what we're gonna do. We are gonna put out a newsletter on things. Like,
Yes.
on what I do. Like, so recently I bought Monero at $110. So I bought a good amount.
Hmm.
It's now at what
250 or
255,
something,
right?
yeah.
250?
Yeah.
Dang.
And so I started switching out all my ETH into Monero. So I did that immediately.
Yeah.
So the things I look for, and when we talk about altcoins, and this is what I look for what are people going to do, why are they going to do it, and how is that going to affect either Bitcoin, which is the sun, and how is Bitcoin going to affect altcoins, right? So when we have Bitcoin, and Keller has Bitcoin, he keeps holding Bitcoin, I always say keep your Bitcoin, number one, bottom line.
Yeah.
And I've always preached that, you need to have Bitcoin,
Yeah.
you need to have Bitcoin.
The
you
people
need
who've
to have
been in the
Bitcoin.
game in a while, they're all like, I used to.
Others.
They always, they're like, you'll be like talking to them, you're like, ETH, it's the new technology, it's great, and they'll just be like, hold some Bitcoin. They'll always just pat you on the head, hold some Bitcoin.
How much Bitcoin? Is possible?
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Like,
What happens now? Okay, so Ethereum has rose quite a bit. Can it cover the cost of 21 million or 30 million a month? Can it cover that cost at its
Yeah.
current price rate?
So,
and the answer is
yeah.
no.
It's hard.
So if you have
Right, I
Ethereum,
know.
Get
the
out.
question is to get out now
No,
and
no.
ride Bitcoin for a little bit.
Right.
And then as soon as you see that Bitcoin's going to top, which it may not top because this is what's going to happen right now.
Exactly.
This is what's going to happen right now. I don't know why they say it's going to go down. Yeah, Thanksgiving, people are talking about Bitcoin.
That's what
Yeah,
Christmas-
yeah,
She was
you-
saying,
she's
yeah.
Christmas,
right.
everybody's talking about Bitcoin.
I think Christmas they're gonna go
Coinbase,
boom, boom.
Coinbase has more account users every day, so
Yes.
Bitcoin's going to go up. What coins can they get into? Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
They can get into Litecoin, they can get into Ethereum.
It did, yeah.
And then so Litecoin probably going to go up a little bit. I'm going to say
right,
it's
it
kind of
goes up
there.
with Bitcoin.
It does. And then in Monero, the reason I got Monero, it has no direct competitors for privacy.
It's a privacy coin. It's the best privacy coin, and also
And their currencies are going up now.
It turns that cost issue that I was talking about, and this is a very, very.
Could I use a button?
Oh yes, right back there.
This is a big deal.
This cost issue is a super, super big deal,
But
and
people
people
think
don't
about
really
it.
understand it very
Yeah.
well.
Mhm.
But Bitcoin
Thank you.
has to have $7 billion of new investors right there. Has to have $7 billion of new investors every year at the current price to break
Right.
even.
Right.
So if the price doubles, then they have to have 14 billion to break even. So like a billion new users a month. But this is only to break even, not to actually grow the price.
Yep.
So that's crazy.
Yeah.
Now, the percentage, because they just choose this percent. And I kept talking with the ETH guys. I was like, why don't you just go to 2%? Like, Bitcoin's at 4,
Hmm.
ETH's at 6, 6.5 or something.
Well, that's their
I-
block reward. It's
Yeah,
not
I kept talking to him. I was like,
technically
yeah, but I kept
percent's
talking.
like 11.
Oh, they changed it to 6.5.
Block reward 6.5.
Well,
But-
as a percent. At a percent.
Oh, at a
it's-
percent.
They
now?
changed it.
Okay,
Like about
and
a
that's
month
why
ago.
you see Ethereum price going up. And I knew it was going to
Yeah,
go up,
yeah,
so I
yeah.
got into some ETH.
Right.
But right now, it can't compete with that price. It is stable.
So,
It is a stable value right now.
Right.
You ain't gonna make money.
so
You're not
many-
gonna lose money.
So the things that you got right now, you got in terms of having unique stuff. You know, like you got Bitcoin and Ethereum, the big boys, and then Iota doing its thing, and then you have Manero, which has two unique properties to it. One is the privacy coin, so this is quite a big deal, and the other thing is, of the major blockchains, it's going to be paying the least amount
Hmm.
for this
Percent-wise,
mining
yeah.
thing.
Hmm.
And in 2019, which at this point is just about a year away, it's going to be the first blockchain that's going to pay less than Bitcoin.
Hmm.
Bitcoin pays 4%. In 2019, Monero is going to go to 2% or less. But then in 20, Bitcoin goes to 2, and then they're pretty close to even again. But Monero is going to it's going to be lower than any other blockchain in the year 2019. That's a huge deal.
But will there be miners mining it? Is that-
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is all when people explain like the importance of this thing.
Hmm.
None of it really matters.
Yeah.
There'll always be miners. They always talk to you about how you need to pay for this thing. You need to pay like 50 million a year, and then you're good. Everything about that is roughly wasted.
Right.
So Manero
To
will
keep
be paying the
security, you
least.
must be paying 50 million to secure your coin. If you're paying 3.5 billion dollars,
Yeah, that's crazy.
You're
now
like
we're
3
paying
billion waste.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
3.2 billion waste.
It's so what you can do instead, if you're like a smart person and you're designing it from the start, and there's limitations in blockchain, but if you had the option of like programming it however you wanted, you would say, well, rather than 3 billion of miners, we'll hire 3 billion of programmers, or 1 billion of marketing, 1 billion of programming, 1 billion of business management, whichever
So-
the case may be.
Well,
And that would end up with a much stronger product.
so we'll talk about, we'll just
But-
go through the coins real quick for new people. We'll
Sure,
talk about
sure.
these coins.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do it real fast.
Like it.
So these are the top, kind of the top 10 coins. They kind of change a lot because XML, I think Stellar might be a top 10 coin now. I'm not sure. It changes kind of daily. But I have a whole PowerPoint on Bitcoin you can take home with you that you can read later.
The sun.
Yeah, the sun. That's Bitcoin.
Yes.
Bitcoin is the sun of the crypto sphere.
Really good man.
21 million coins. The holder of all crypto liquidity and value, because that's where liquidity, you come in and out of crypto, is Bitcoin. So if you want to step into the crypto world and trade, you're trading through Bitcoin.
Yep.
So
So
that's what
they
people
call that
need
the
it.
Bitcoin dollar. Y'all
Yeah.
heard of that?
Mhm.
So whatever is the biggest coin, it effectively gets twice as big as it ever should be, just because it's the first one everyone hears about. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then we got the next one is Monero, the one I like.
Yeah.
There are some downfalls to Monero, and you can read right there.
Yeah.
Asset currency with private payment system may become banned in countries. Okay.
Monero
It
is
may.
the most likely to get banned by a long shot.
By a long shot. Why? Because it's private. Countries do not like that. You can track Bitcoin all day. Monero, you can throw it in there and it shuffles it. That's how it works. It shuffles
It's
all the
crazy.
coins. So all the
Can't
coins
you
get
shuffle
shuffled all the
Bitcoin?
time.
Well, you can.
Or
You
there's
can.
like cloud shuffling.
You can shuffle it, but the Monero is straight. We are the best at it.
Shuffled by default.
Like the ransom cry, the WannaCry people took Bitcoin, transferred their Bitcoin into Monero, shuffled it a bunch, and then
Yeah.
withdrew it. So that's how they got around it.
Right.
It may become banned. So that's one of those like, hey, I'm in Monero, I feel like it's going to go up, but if a bunch of countries start banning it, the price is going to
Yeah.
drop.
Then you're
fast.
screwed.
Get out,
Yeah.
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 And when I was looking at the coins, it was Cardano or Cardano.
Cardano.
Yeah.
Cardano,
ADA, taker.
Mhm.
But it's that's like some science coin or something.
No, it's a platform-based coin, just
Right.
like, but it's based off of research. Okay, so we have people at like I forgot the name of the university. What's the name of the university? Like in UK. What's the
Oxford?
Oxford. It's like Oxford, or I can't remember which
Cambridge.
university. They borrowed a research paper. It's not the only one that ever have borrowed research to understand crypto, but it's a multi-layer protocol. Performs a band function that has the foundation of a settlement layer that is outwardly linked to the control layer. So what does that mean? That's like Ethereum, but Ethereum has to have dApps on top of it to do settlements and stuff like this. So if you want to pay, you don't pay with Ethereum. You're really going to pay with another coin on top of Ethereum. This one wants to do all this at once. It wants to have the dApps and everything located on it, on top of it. It's going to be built in. So it's not going to have dApps. So what are dApps? When we talk about platforms, we're talking about Microsoft, you know, like the Windows operating system. And a dApp on that's like Excel. So you know how you use the program Excel, but it's on top of Microsoft.
Right.
Same thing as Ethereum. Ethereum has Ethereum, and things that run on top of it are things like Omisco, which I like, which is a payment system on top of Ethereum. Cardano's whole plan is to make it all in one, all inclusive in their coin. So the platform is a payment system, which is also multi-layer. So when you're talking about multi-layer, you're talking about a coin that does transactions, but also it's a payment system at the same time. Plus, it's just like the Internet of all things, having all things in one coin. But it uses blockchain, so that's the difference between Iota and Cardano. Kind of the same idea. Then we got Ethereum, which is Turing-complete programmable blockchain. And this is where you build all sorts of distributive apps or dApps on top of it. The Ethereum Alliance, which is like basically a large group that kind of advertises Ethereum to countries and places and companies. So they have a huge backing, the Ethereum Alliance. So they actually have like a whole group that's like Ethereum, Ethereum, Ethereum to everybody. Microsoft use Ethereum. So they have like a whole sidearm of their company called the Ethereum Alliance. that basically promotes Ethereum. That's why they're so big.
So is that like centralized it or what?
No, that's just their little alliance thing that says like these big heavy hitters in Ethereum are promoting it. Like they'll go travel to
So
Russia.
it's kind of like Bitcoin Core then?
Yeah, it's like
Yes.
Bitcoin Core.
Okay.
Yes.
Same idea. But that's why Ethereum, when you talk about Iota taking over Ethereum, you're going to have to take over a lot of money and a lot of things. But it can happen. It's going to move to proof of stake, which means when you have coins, all you have to do to mine more coins is just keep your coins in the wallet, and they'll pay you to use it. That's a big deal in the future when Bitcoin is now using more energy than like some nations do to do transactions. So if you're green, if you're a green person at heart, and you don't like electricity just being burned just to like do stuff, you're going to want proof of stake. Like proof of work's going to go away. That means mining. Proof of work is miners using electricity. A lot of people don't want that because they're against global warming. All these countries are, right? So that's the one thing about Bitcoin that may in the future kill it. I don't know. Is that they're using so much electricity and they're causing so much greenhouse effects that, you know, countries in Europe aren't going to approve of that. China's okay
How
with
soon
that.
is Ethereum going to prove the proof of stake?
Oh, the proof of stake, Casper, what is that?
Okay, so some people say, so Vitalik, I like Vitalik, but he also is a bit of a marketing guy. He will like say deadlines that are just unrealistic or are unstandard with their products. So Vitalik said he might have it ready in 3 months.
Okay.
If I was to say, knowing him, this means 9 months or something like that. And what they said,
Tesla.
yeah. So he said originally the plan all along they've made no commitment until he just said it, but they've made no commitment previously before the end of 2018.
Okay.
They're like around October, December 2018 we should have it close to ready. I'll just say knowing Ethereum and their ways, I might speculate it could be as far as April 2019. So because they have a history of confirming deadlines like a month away and then missing it.
This is a big
And
deal.
I'm like,
because
really?
What this happens when Casper comes out, their transaction speed goes way up, proof of stake starts coming in, so you start making money off the coins you own. The price of Ethereum should go way up in general, just because inflation is going to go down again. And they're going to have transaction speed. So when you see that, when we know the exact time it's going to happen, this is called a game where I play. This is the way I play the game. I get in before it even starts thinking about the game going in.
Right.
And when the big dogs go in, it's almost too late to get in. You should, But if you go in early and write it up and down, just for a little bit before this big announcement's supposed to come out, like before it was like 2 weeks. First it was 1 week.
Right.
And then it became 2 weeks before an announcement was about to
Now
come
you gotta
out.
be like a month.
And it's like 3 weeks a month now. So
Yeah,
I
it
wrote.
is.
That's when we got on the Bitcoin SegWit thing. I got in a month before.
You had to be like a month ahead now.
Didn't we get a month in before on that one?
Maybe, yeah.
We got a month in. It was like 5,800 at the time, and it rose to like almost 8.
Yeah.
Just because we were a month before.
I got all my coin about like 6,000.
Yeah. So when it moves to proof of stake, that should be a big gain for Ethereum, but we'll see. And then we got the next one's Bitcoin Cash. It's a fork of Bitcoin, and it's called these Improvement Acts are Bitcoin Improvement Act 91. Ethereum has the same thing. They'll have EIPs, Ethereum Improvement Protocol or Proposition. Sorry. So this is Bitcoin Improvement Proposition. So what people do is get online and put out propositions to improve a coin, and then they can fork. And what a fork means is that they break off like this. They fork. The regular chain stays here, and the new chain's made, and whoever owned Bitcoin will get 1-for-1 exchange of whatever the fork is. Okay? So Bitcoin Cash forked. And what happened with the fork? It made the block size bigger. Well, what does the block size bigger mean? It means more transactions in the block.
Yeah, penny.
Makes the transaction cost go down. It means you can put more transactions on the block because a block happens every 10 minutes. So if you want your transaction to happen in that 10 minute, you got to be within that number in that block. The block's double the size and there's more transactions, which means transaction speeds go up. So Bitcoin Cash whole proposition was to make Bitcoin usable as a currency. Bitcoin people never cared if Bitcoin's a currency, it's a hold of value. I mean, that's the
Yeah,
days.
for gold to increase.
So-
It's by using Bitcoin to buy McDonald's burgers and
It's
stuff,
actually-
it's kind of unlikely.
So for an actual buying burgers and stuff, Bitcoin Cash is better than Bitcoin. I'm not going to say it's better overall, but it's better.
It's better for that one purpose. But
Yes.
anyway,
then we got-
so to get Forex, I'll just talk about that just briefly to interject on Forex. So to get Forex, this is where you don't want your money on the exchanges. You want to download your own Bitcoin wallet, download it into there, and then if you have your address, then and you have a Bitcoin address and you have 5 Bitcoins in there, and there's a fork of Bitcoin Gold or Bitcoin Cash, then that address will work in Bitcoin Gold, it'll work in Bitcoin Cash. So what you want to do is, you have your address, you have your 5 Bitcoins in there, you wait till after the fork cuts off, then you transfer your Bitcoins from that address to a new one, and then you go into Bitcoin Gold, and you try it out to see if it works, and you try to transfer those 5 coins to a new one, and there you go, and you got it. Now the reason that you don't leave your coins in there is, let's say you're getting the Bitcoin Gold, and let's pretend it's a scam, and then you put in your information to get the Bitcoin Gold because it's the same information, and all they do is take your Bitcoins immediately.
Yeah. What happens is this, it's sort of like that.
And if you have it on Coinbase, then you either don't get it or you might get it a year from now.
Yeah, this is what really happened. Yeah. He explained it a little bit simpler, but what they can do is if you transfer your Bitcoin Cash to somewhere, they can replay the transaction sometimes. Not some of them have anti-replay.
Right.
They'll replay the transaction and get your Bitcoin, how much Bitcoin Cash you did. They'll replay the transaction on the Bitcoin blockchain, and then they'll take that much Bitcoin, how much Bitcoin Cash you did.
Yeah,
so that's called
like
replay,
that.
but they usually protect against that. They usually code against it. Usually.
Okay.
Now the move of Bitcoin Cash was to take over.
It was.
There was-
as far as I'm concerned. As far as I'm concerned, yeah.
This is a whole conspiracy. So there are some conspiracy to say if all the miners went to Bitcoin Cash, it would overtake Bitcoin. But it didn't happen because there's too much money in Bitcoin, and it's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. What could happen would be this. This is where they played it up, and this is like sort of a conspiracy where they're like, if it has more hashing power, then that becomes BTC on tickers. That would have screwed up all of Bitcoin. Everything would have gone down. It would have screwed it all up. It didn't happen because they decided against it because a lot of people probably told them to F off, in my opinion.
Something like that. But it was something to take over, and so the industrial community versus the investment community. The investment community is fine if it just goes up in value, which Bitcoin is doing a pretty good job of doing.
To a certain point, because if it goes up in value and it's centralized, I'm not interested in it.
Right. So Bitcoin's going up in value, and it's the most, as far as I'm concerned, and of course I don't know everything, but I think it's the most decentralized coin that there is.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is the impression I've gotten, is that Bitcoin is the most decentralized coin there is. So the industrial folks, they handle a lot more small transactions, and sometimes their fees are included in their pricing and all this kind of stuff. And so they're a little bit more sensitive to trying to get it to cost a penny versus a quarter. So they created the Bitcoin Cash to make sure that it costs a penny, And then also what they did is they acquired, whereas in Bitcoin they might own 5-10% of the Bitcoin, who knows what percent they own. But in Bitcoin Cash they own like 40%, because they bought it all when it was $300, and they did some like weird mining techniques, da-da-da-da-da.
There's
so
another
anyways,
thing. This is the thing about it.
That answers all that.
That the decentralization issue. It's like statistics. There's lies, damn lies, and statistics. Is Bitcoin the most decentralized? Yes. Why is that? Well, because some of these other coins, a core group owns 35%. Like the starting group owns that much of it. So is Bitcoin less centralized? Not in my opinion. When you're talking about if a group that looking for the best value, the greatest good for the coin, then that's where you got to take what they are doing. Are they trying to make money, or are they trying to make the coin better? Them holding a larger percent means they can dictate where it goes. With Bitcoin, the people who have the most power are the miners. So when the miners do stuff, they have the most power. It is considered, to my opinion, it's one of the more centralized coins because miners dictate all this stuff. And what happens is, the miners dictate where Bitcoin's going to go, and then guess what? That's why Bitcoin really hasn't changed that much. They've had 3 or 4 things changing them, and they're saying they're the most decentralized. Well, nobody can get anything done because the miners control, and that's where they want it to be, and they do what they want to do with Bitcoin. And you're investing in Bitcoin, you're at the will of their power. So if there's a group over here that owns 35% and 65% is owned by other people, yes, it's more centralized because one group owns 35%, but is that like really centralization? Technically, yes, but technically, are they really like the people who are preventing things from happening that are just not for profit? Because Bitcoin's very like profit, 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 and that's good for investing. So if you want to invest, profit, profit, profit. If you're looking for this revolution to happen with blockchain, Bitcoin's not it, in my opinion. It's the starter, the end all, be all, the classic, what started it all. But I don't see them improving to the point where we start using it daily like that's what they want. It's a store of value, and their entire goal is to make profit. And if you're in this game for profit, which most of us are, Bitcoin's great. I just don't think they're going to be revolutionary.
You might be right there.
It's already revolutionary though.
What?
Like it started
Yeah.
a thing that all these other ones.
Yeah. But it's usually always one that starts it. Usually it's slow to change, and it has. It's really slow, but it makes money.
Yeah.
So
isn't the concept of the blockchain old though? It's like based on like some World War II
No, it's
era
based-
encryption.
well, the SHA-256.
That's it,
The SHA-256 is like the 1980s kind of encryption. The blockchain was in a research paper. This one guy did a research paper on how blockchain's used, and that was in the 80s, right? But nobody picked it up. And then there was more research on how to use it, and then Merkle trees, that's from from a long time ago in the 50s and 40s. But the actual idea of blockchain didn't come out till like this one guy wrote a paper on it, and then somebody found that paper, and then Satoshi started using it in a different format than it was ever planned for. And then that's how blockchain started as a currency.
What do you know of encryption? What do you know of encryption?
No, World War II.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, there's
yeah,
always been
yeah.
encryption, and there's always been a
Yeah,
battle for
that's
decrypting
it.
and
Yeah,
encrypting.
Enigma.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I never knew anything about the Enigma machine, but yeah, that was a big encryption device at the time.
Yeah.
It was the most powerful at the time, and the story is, and I don't know how true the stories are, of course, but the story is that England basically invented computers, and that's the only way that they could defeat Enigma, because they previously did not have computers, and then they had to make a computer in order to defeat it.
Correct. That's how it worked.
That's the story.
They did. The code would change every day, and they would figure out the code about 2 or 3 days later, or a month later. They'd find out the code.
Right, humans trying to do it.
But if you watch the movie or you read the books about it,
Yeah,
there's like
Turing.
one guy who just like
Alan
kept
Turing.
using the Turing complete, and then he goes and they talk about it and they keep talking about it, and this one guy kept putting messages over to his girlfriend or something, and he would always start with the same 2 letters. And then so they could figure out 2 letters, so then they could easily start once they got the 2 letters or one piece of it, they could figure out the code really quick.
Right.
Then they had to decide what they were going to use the code on, supposedly in the movies and books about it, that they let certain people die, and then let certain people live and let things go. And
yeah, because when you know the code, you can't let them know that you know the code.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to make the
So this one
God
guy who was like contacting his girlfriend over this Enigma machine. That's how they figured it out, because he would always start with the same message at the very beginning, or at the end he would say "love you" or something stupid. So they could find those words. And
It's always
they wrote
human
the
error.
code. It always is.
it always is.
All right, so the next one's Ripple. That's XRP. Ripple is to connect banks and payment providers, digital assets, exchanges, and corporate via the Ripple network to provide one frictionless experience to send money globally. So a big deal is sending money globally. It costs a lot of money. You need to have a third party. It costs you a lot of money to do it. So this would be a frictionless way for banks to talk to each other. So that's all Ripple's plan to do. It's for banks, basically.
So because of that, is it centralized then?
It's centralized. I mean, they're all
Yeah.
decentralized, but I mean, technically decentralized.
Right.
But that's what they want.
They translate cryptocurrency into.
Well, they do. They're
Fiat?
just a coin for banks. Like if
So
you're a bank,
to own a single Ripple coin, to actually use their blockchain, a single Ripple coin is like $10 million. So, and you have to use a whole Ripple. So what they did instead of so Bitcoin faces the problem of 50-cent fees because you can send fractions of a Bitcoin.
Right.
So you can send, some people will send penny transactions. A Ripple, the minimum transaction is 10 million bucks. So therefore the fees are always still a penny.
Right.
Because no one wants to use it other than banks.
So we have Dash. Dash is like really instant transaction. And instant sends transactions are fully confirmed with a couple seconds, giving financial privacy and obscuring the source of the funds. While Dash is based on Bitcoin, it significantly modifies the coin emission rate by smoother reduction. That means how much they're paying out.
Yeah.
In Bitcoin, it does reduce the emission rate by 50% every 4 years. That's why Keller was talking about the inflation rate going down on 2020.
That's the big year for Bitcoin.
And that's
2020.
And that's that fourth year. So
it's going to be great.
When we talk about Dash, Dash does a 1/14th, so it does 7.14% every year. So it just keeps going down and down every year.
Is it going to kind of cap out at 2020, or is it going to kind of?
It's just going to go insane in 2020.
It's going to.
We'll talk about that a little bit more in terms of the bubble after Patrick's presentation.
And then so when we talk about that, they want to reduce the amount of Dash being put out every year, so they say it's smoother that way. Instead of just all of a sudden 2020. Emission rate goes down, Bitcoin skyrockets up. Dash is going to slowly, if you want to invest in something that you think is a good investment as well, Dash is fine because it will go up every year. This rate will go down every year.
Yeah, so the two.
And then you could see the block. So every 21,240 blocks. So you can look at their block and see when that's going to go down, and you can invest in Dash before that, maybe 100 blocks before.
Yeah.
And that's where being able to look at blocks on the internet, and we'll explain how to do that in another meeting, is important because a lot of things happen during blocks, not at a specific time. You can technically look at and try to prophesize when it happens, because I'll do that sometimes and be like, all right, this is going to happen at this block. I'm going to buy it 200 blocks before that, and then that can help for investment.
Yeah, in my opinion, the real advantages of Dash is, so it does a little bit of a proof of stake now, which is kind of cool. So if you have if you have 100 Dash and you move it from Bittrex into your little Dash account thing, then you can start getting rewarded in Dash. So that's nice. It's one of the very few coins that has beat Bitcoin. One of the very few, and especially when you account the idea that you get free Dash for owning it, and that's not in the chart, you know. So it has beat Bitcoin at least quite a lot of the time. And the other thing that Dash does, which is unique for the big coins, the big coins, they only pay these miners, and this is the only thing they pay on their blockchain. Dash pays a development team, or their marketing team is what they call it. But Dash pays their marketing team 1% of the total coin value per year. So that's a big deal. You know, if I could take the $7 billion that Bitcoin is paying to the miners, and if I had the option, of course we don't, but if I had the option to say 1 billion of that goes to advertising, I would of course do it in a second. You get a much better bang on the buck.
Yep.
And so Dash might have the biggest marketing team of any coin.
And when you talk about Dash and you talk about some of these coins, these are the altcoins I would invest in. Some of these low inflation coins, and you can make a little money on it. And on the side, what?
Over Bitcoin?
No. With Bitcoin, with Bitcoin. I never say over.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would you recommend selling? Let's say I have a few Ethereum and just selling that and getting some Bitcoin.
What you could do? This is what you got to do with Ethereum. Ethereum's gonna stay at this price and lower until Casper comes out. So this is what you got to do. You're losing opportunity cost. Never sell at a loss. Number one rule. It will gain back. Never look at your coin and go, man, it keeps losing and losing and losing. Just hold it until you start getting gains on it. That's the number one faulty of new investors is they look at a coin, it's going down.
Try to cut their loss too soon.
Yes.
I sometimes do that. I think it's okay, but all the same.
I'm with you.
Mostly just don't let it beat you up mentally.
Yeah.
As long as you don't let it beat you up mentally, it's okay.
The
pocket.
So easy.
Easier said than done.
I don't let it beat me up.
You just look at that graph.
What you do is you go have a few drinks and go relax and then look at crypto for a week. Next time you come back, it's up by 100%. It's up by 100,000%. You're like, yeah, I did a good job.
That's what we did.
I know.
We bought Bitcoin, and my dad said, "Okay, we're buying Bitcoin, and I'm not looking at a graph since." And what do we do every 30 minutes? Did you see where Bitcoin is?
yeah, right. That's what you
But we
do.
weren't going to look at it again.
Right.
The next one is Bitcoin Gold. It is
That's a funny
monopolized
one.
as GPU mining, and I think it's like fool's gold. I wouldn't even get it at all. It is this. The big
It's
thing is
probably
it's
not
not
gonna happen.
ASIC and it's GPU mining, but whatever.
Again, this is one of those things. Is this revolutionary enough?
No, yeah, it's
Right.
not.
It's. I mean, it's a change, but is it enough? Probably not.
All right, so the Litecoin network therefore is scheduled to produce 84 million Litecoins. Okay, so in the grand scheme of things, that's not a lot of Litecoins. So if you get into Litecoin, I believe that Litecoin will do well over the next couple of years or next year. And it aims to process a block every 2.5 minutes. That's the problem with Bitcoin. It processes a block every 10 minutes. So if you want to spend things like Litecoin, 2.5 minutes isn't a long time to wait. It's a little bit too long
Yeah.
for straight cash. But I think
Right.
in your idea of holding Litecoin as a profitable thing, I think it's profitable. I don't think it's going to be revolutionary, and I think it will die eventually. But I still buy Litecoin, and I still do
it gets all the tech that Bitcoin does. So that's one of these nice things about these forks, is since they're using the same code and all their code is forced to be open source.
Yeah.
So Litecoin, they make their little coin, they just divide things by 4, pretty much all they did.
Yep.
And now the Bitcoin core, they're creating new stuff, and Litecoin has to just do copy, paste. We did it too.
Yep. And then Iota, we already talked about Iota,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we don't need to discuss it. That's some of the top 10 coins. When we talk about coins to invest in, if you're talking about investing, what are you looking to invest in? I invest right now. I think the big gainers are going to be currency coins, which is Dash, Litecoin, Monero, Bitcoin. I think a lot of these are at good prices to where you can buy them, and like I believe Monero or Dash may go up to $1,800, $2,000 a coin.
Dash is interesting. I mean, it is interesting. It's one of the few coins that's done very well. It's not very popular in the social communities. They do have the biggest marketing team, and I do think marketing is the number one thing that frankly makes a coin valuable.
Dash can do this. This is what Dash could possibly do in the future. It could be the coin you actually spend. It could literally be something you can transact in, because it doesn't take very long to do a transaction.
Yeah,
It's a couple of seconds. And if it scales and does what it's supposed to do, Dash could definitely do it. I don't know if you'll be able to. Well, the question always is, do I buy the $4 million pizza? Which means I spend Dash now, and next thing I know, I've just spent $1 million on a damn pizza. You know, 3 years down the road.
You guys were asking earlier, like when to sell and get out. Things that we've noticed are, we, whichever you want to say. But I think getting in on the ICOs, if you can find the good ones, it's kind of hard to find which one's the good one, the bad one. But if you can get in on the ICOs basically before the big boys get in, because they don't get in on the ICOs, I don't know why, but they just choose not to. I think it's too much work for them, whatever, I don't know. But if you get in on the ICOs, those tend to be quite profitable, but US can't do it right now. But those ICOs have been more consistently profitable than like buying the coin, you know. And then other than that, you sort of have to predict before the big institutional money comes in, and that's impossible to tell. You can sort of guess which things have a little bit more of a future with them, like, I'll just say Iota, for example, like, it seems to have more of a guaranteed future.
Right now.
But then other than that, you know, if there's then, in my opinion, the number one issue is marketing. And basically this crypto dollar aspect. So Bitcoin is like the crypto dollar at the current time. And for anything that's like similar to Bitcoin, and I just mean like, you know, even though Dash has done better than Bitcoin, but it's kind of similar, ETH is kind of similar, some of these others are kind of similar. At some point they have to defeat the marketing of Bitcoin. They have to get people today
recognition.
Yeah, people today, they call blockchain, they just call it Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Like
Nintendo is video game.
Yeah, if you use blockchain or cryptography, people don't know what you're talking about. If you just say the Bitcoins, I'm talking about the Bitcoins, studying the Bitcoins, people know what you mean by this. And the people with money, they do the stable thing.
What you see in the near future about regulations in governments to jump in or
It's-
not
it's-
jump in or
they effectively will make their own coins at some point. I don't think that they'll try to regulate Bitcoin in particular. Bitcoin and Ethereum and all those, they're public coins. Monero's the private coin, so they might try to regulate Monero. But I don't think that they'll regulate, when I say the governments, Western governments, I don't think Western governments will try to regulate Bitcoin or Ethereum. China is already regulating it to some degree, and I think they'll probably continue on that approach. And the closed nations, I don't know how Russia does it. I don't know how Iran does it.
This is what happens with
this you say 2020 will be great, yeah.
Yes.
2020 will be great for the ones who buy
Right.
or hold Bitcoin.
Right.
What about all the rest of the banks looking at Bitcoin and say,
This is what happens with this. This is what people fear, is that they'll make their own crypto. They'll have a centralized system. Bitcoin will go away. Their cryptocurrencies, their currencies will overtake. The question is, what happens then? Will people really buy into the government crypto? Because they're not getting a deal, to be honest. You're not making profit off of it. So I don't see people switching from a currency where they
correct. I understand all that.
Yeah.
I'm the government now.
Yes.
I see you.
I'm
you're
jealous.
making it, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
could be.
so let's say Bitcoin Cash. This is a fair example of they're effectively like a government. Granted, they're a lot weaker, but they're effectively like a government they see Bitcoin and they like, oh, we can make one little change and we control 40% versus 10% of this pile of coins. So let's try to get everybody to go to Bitcoin Cash. So they took over some aspects, social media, their exchanges, even Bitcoin.com goes to Bitcoin Cash now, stuff like this. So let's say the government in 2020, so this is a few years out, granted, but in 2020, let's say the government becomes real serious and they create what is unlikely is for them to say no Bitcoin at all. That's just such a harsh move against such a large number of people at this point that people would become quite upset, especially by 2020, But what the governments what they can sort of do is, let's just call it Bitcoin, Bitcoin America, just for talking purposes. It's called Bitcoin America. It's and the government releases all this advertising that says Bitcoin supports terrorism. Bitcoin America is the great coin, and all the good people own that one. All your exchanges, they discourage you from doing Bitcoin terrorism and do Bitcoin America. And then they make it harder to link up your bank accounts, and they start doing tax audits on you and all these other kind of things. And they mess with developers and the communities and stuff. The governments can do that. I have a suspicion that by 2020, considering that's a few years out, if they did that today, I think that would just mess up Bitcoin quite hard.
It's 2 years.
Well, yeah, it's 2 years. But these little groups that we're doing here, these groups are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Like when I was in Rome, their group was 100 people, and they have a meeting spot that they reserve all the time, and they have like a movie projector. And this is just a local meetup.
But what you're talking about is this. This is what we're talking about also. What you got to understand is they're going to have to pay money to secure their network. One. Then you're going to have make everyone download a program on your computer to start using their currency. Let's just say that. How many people are just going to go download government software on their computer?
Well,
everybody.
Well, anyways.
Yeah, but that's part of it. Then they have to pay out money to keep it secure, because you're not going to run and use your own electricity. The government can't tell me I'm going to spend electricity to keep their coin secure. So that's another thing. You have to keep the coin secure. Well, how do you do that? You incentivize it. Well, is the government going to incentivize? Get a program to program blockchain, or are they just going to sit back and tax it, which is what I think they're going to do? Why am I going to make all this, spend all this money, and incentivize it?
Because they don't have the control.
Yeah.
Right.
But
that's the main thing. They don't.
Yeah.
They want control.
But they'll
you
still
are not giving
they'll
them
still
the-
have control, because they still get their tax money. Businesses will still operate and do regulations. So what you can do to control it is regulate it. get your tax money, because that's what a big thing about the illegal alcohol business in East Tennessee is a big deal. They can't control it, but the reason they can't control it and they don't like it is because they can't tax it. It's not that they want to sit here and control it and like be like, we're going to make alcohol now. They're not running around making alcohol because people made alcohol in the woods, but they tax it, they regulate it, and they get their money. So I don't think the government has an issue as long as they get their money.
Have y'all heard about the crypto ruble?
No.
Yeah,
Well, Russia's
gonna make their dollar into a crypto coin.
Yeah, their dollar.
Venezuela
That's all.
is the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, are they doing the same
Yeah,
thing?
they're doing one
Venezuela's
backed by
gonna-
gasoline.
with the petro.
Yeah,
With the petro.
Yeah, it's
Pet-
gonna called it's called petro or something.
And then that's fine, and that is good for crypto, because this is what happens. You get a stable currency instead of having Bitcoin and spending Bitcoin. If the government stabilizes the cryptocurrency, that's really good, because then if you want to invest, you invest in Bitcoin with your U.S. crypto, U.S. dollar crypto, right? But if you get paid in U.S. crypto, right, I can invest it and I can spend it, right? I can spend it, and I'm not spending $4 million because my U.S. crypto is going to go up and down, right? It only goes up and down slightly, because the dollar goes up and down all the time, just a little bit here, a little bit there.
The big difference is from 21 million bitcoins to
unlimited dollars.
a limited,
Yeah, and that's
a limited American coin.
But see,
So-
that doesn't matter, because if you want to store a value in crypto for a business, it'd be just like in buying stocks. It's not that when I buy crypto from a company, I'm buying a stock. Some of these are payment systems, and they're gold and payment systems. So yes, maybe some of the payment system crypto money goes way down. But Bitcoin is a store of value. It's a gold. Are they going to be able to produce gold? Crypto, is their crypto going to be gold? No. So it's going to move more like investing in companies, and that's what we're doing. This payment system where you're paying in crypto, that can go away. That may go away by the U.S. crypto dollar, right? That may take out companies like Omisco that I like. May take them out and clean them. But Bitcoin Gold Bitcoin's going to be there, because Bitcoin's going to be a store of value if you want to invest.
Right.
And it's not going to keep
a
skyrocketing
crypto
like
dollar
crazy.
is possible,
But
but the government would take
yeah,
that.
and that's fine, and they will run a crypto dollar on a platform, the U.S. platform, and that's fine.
Yeah.
So what does that take away? Ethereum, Omisco, and then it takes out quite a few. But this is what they do. Instead of the government having their platform, you build a DApp on their platform. You pay the government to build your own application on their company.
Well, and then
they get transfer costs.
So another thing that's happening with this crypto, and this is what I suspect again by the 2020 year, when the real magic I suspect is going to start happening with
right now, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, 14.
Yeah, so the price of Bitcoin going nuts, and then so in 2020 I think the price of Bitcoin will go really nuts, and then but also over these next 2 years or whatever, these meetups are building up, which I think is a very big thing, and then in all the little towns everybody's having their own little meetups. Chattanooga has like a 10-person meetup, Knoxville has maybe 10 to 20 people meetup. Nashville, I think, has like a 50-60. I haven't been to theirs, but they have like 10 meetups going. So Nashville has some big ones, and then all these other countries. So, and then the meetups, for my part, I'm trying to like coordinate the Nashville, Chattanooga, and the Asheville, Lexington, so that we're trying to like work with each other and share information and resources. Chattanooga's got this crypto lawyer, and Nashville's got a guy who works with their group. He's busy today. He's in Switzerland enjoying himself, but also doing work with his blockchain. He's starting his blockchain like tomorrow. And he's putting his business into blockchain. Odin. It's called Odin.io.
Yeah.
If you want to look it up, he's from Nashville, this fella. He gives talks at Princeton and stuff. But like connecting all these groups and like connecting with the Rome group and connecting with especially the ones in other countries, well, like you mentioned before, well, if the U.S. government says you can't use a bank, to do your crypto anymore, well, we'll start to have connections who are in different countries and at their own meetups, and they're a group like this, and then in 2 years, as this develops even stronger, well, what do we do next? We start electing a mayor. We start electing a mayor.
You got to understand about crypto what it really is. It's a ledger. So what would the government like even more? is to be able to take you, look how much money you have immediately on the internet, see all your transactions immediately. That is total control. That's why if they make a dollar, if they make their own dollar and they let companies get on top of their dollar and then they start getting transaction fees, and now they can count every single dollar. Now there's none of this under the table. I'm paying you under the table. If it's a cryptocurrency and I'm paying you and that's actually the real thing, I have to pay you in that crypto. Now it's on a ledger. Now they can go look at it. So when you declare your taxes now, there's not all these millions of dollars they can't account for. So when you talk about the government trying to take over, this is perfect for them, to be honest.
It really
where
is.
They can
as
control.
long as it's non-private,
Yeah, and they have their dollar, and you build a DApp. They go, hey, we want you to be the payment DApp, and then the government backs them. Then that company will go skyrocket, and you'll own stock in them. And these tokens will be stock. They won't be actual tokens you spend. They'll go to stocks. The reason they're not called stocks now is because the government says if they're stocks, we're going to come after you, sort of. So a lot of them are like, we're not a stock.
But packages.
We're a package of coins. And that's what I'm saying is these companies, they're ahead of the curve. They are the Amazon, the first company coming out. Amazon, when it came out, didn't get taxed. Online processing didn't get taxed. The government didn't know what to do. So the
for like 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years. So Amazon got huge, and they're like, "Oh, this company's making $100 trillion, whatever they're making." They're like, "How do we get our money?" And well, they made a law.
So like there'll be some move to like let's just call it the American coin or something like let's just call it the American government trying to impose American coin.
And that's fine.
But then there'll be a big group of people who start moving into the international coin, and so long as these little organizations basically, and they create networks that cross national boundaries, which isn't super difficult to do. You only have to do 2 or 3 national boundaries, and then all of a sudden. And then we just basically all participate in international coin, and that will always be worth more than any kind of a national coin.
And that's what we're saying, that these blockchains may not be public to everybody, but the government will have a way to look at your coins and what you got and your stocks, and therefore you have to declare your taxes. It's the perfect thing for taxing people, to be honest. And that Keller wants to be the
So this is some advertising I'm thinking about replacing my little sign with outside. I'll pass it around there. But so, tell me what you think of the sign. But I have my Midnight Discovery sign up there, and I was thinking about just calling myself Mayor of Bitcoin. But I think in a few years, so if we start having these international organizations, then you have to have some kind of a president, some kind of a board, and like people have to have some way of organization properly.
This is behind.
It is behind. I know. I made it a month ago. I made it a damn month ago, and it says 5,000 for this year. It's like 15,000 already. I'm like, when I made that though a month ago, people are like, "Oh, we'll go down to 1,000."
Exactly.
Are you saying it's going to be 250 on 2020?
Well, I said it would be 50,000 by the end of 18.
Well, no, by the beginning of 18, it'll be 15.
Yeah.
Bring it that way.
There you go.
Bring it that way from the beginning.
The goal is that.
But I think it'll be about 250 in 2020. I really do. Per coin. Some people predict it'll be $500,000, but it'll be quite high. It'll be quite. It won't be $1 billion, but anyways.
But this is what we're saying. If the government puts a coin out, they'll be able to track you. They'll have companies come in. They'll own it. Like MasterCard will get in. The corporate America will get in, and they will control stuff. But the real deal is these cryptocurrency companies that we're investing in now. We hope they get in when the governments make their own digital currency, because it costs how much to make money? To print it.
It costs
a ton.
And to secure it. That's
and
the main
to secure
issue.
it and to switch the technology. So are they going to go to cryptocurrency? Probably. Does it ruin everything? No, it's just we're in these companies already.
We'll start getting toward the wrap-up area.
He does.
I'll just cover this briefly if y'all don't know. Have y'all used GDAX?
Yeah, you can. If you're the maker, you don't have to pay fees.
Yes. So if you're buying a lot of money, if you're moving from a pile of cash into crypto, and if you're moving like more than $10,000 or whatever, then it's kind of worthwhile to try to use GDAX. And I'll just say kind of worthwhile because you pay the Bitcoin price a week from now, and the Bitcoin price a week from now might be quite high. But
the problem is that it's so hard to transfer money to them because of the limits they have.
Yeah, I know.
And they got all those limits. You can buy like 2,000 a week or whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Coinbase?
That makes it hard.
Coinbase, yeah. Patrick and I got ours up to like, well, anyways, Mine's quite high.
Well, can you
Well,
turn
after
off
a
the
while, it
camera?
can get high.
Right, after a while,
you
yeah,
can
but
turn
if you
off
try
the
to get
camera.
in.
Everybody down something. But so we'll do one more thing. So the other thing that I was thinking about. So do we want to have projects for next week or topics? I mean, for next month.
Mhm.
Projects or topics for next month.
We try
You
to
got
give
any
out
idea?
projects for each person, so you can do a little research. Bring us a
Uh-huh.
little, like the little PowerPoint, and you bring it in, you share
Our
it.
Oh,
session.
okay.
Yeah.
So what I
and
want to
just-
know about is
Yeah.
what coin do I want? I want to know about Ardor, the Lisk.
Ardor.
Yeah, Ardor. Lisk is getting replaced by Ardor. I want somebody to look up that and do a little PowerPoint on it.
Ardor.
Yeah,
Okay.
the one that's replacing Lisk. I like
Um,
Lisk. I just want to see what this Ardor replacement is.
Yeah. I know Lightning Networks in phase 2. Let me think of. And also just networking with other crypto groups.
Yeah.
Do any of y'all go to? Are there other crypto groups that you go to?
He was in
I was
Asheville.
with the, yeah, I went to the Asheville one.
How was that one?
It was nice, yeah, it was good. They
How
have,
many people?
there were about maybe 25, 30 people.
Okay.
Oh
there.
my gosh! Yeah.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
so for next week or next month, how about this?
And they have, the next meeting is on Sunday, so I'll be going there.
Yeah. So just bring a report of what's
The
going on in
next
Nashville.
meeting is gonna be about mining. They're gonna do a meeting about mining.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have 3 guys that are miners.
Yeah.
And they're gonna have kind of like a question and answer kind of thing with those guys.
Yes.
So that's their plan for next meeting.
Then bring all that
Yeah.
information.
Do you mind taking some notes on that
Sure,
and bring
sure,
that?
yeah,
And
absolutely.
if there's any like key players, because these
you,
guys
you
all
don't do any mining yourself. right?
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, I know how it works. I think
Right, right.
I think it's hard to make it profitable on the small scale. It's fine
yeah,
if you want
yeah,
to.
that's what I figured.
If you do a box, it's
Mhm.
not. I mean, you could make a little money.
Right. right.
And
The question is this: the reason why we say it's not profitable is because of this. If Bitcoin skyrockets and you can't afford Bitcoin, but you can afford a miner over it's going to be way profitable.
Mhm.
But the question is it going to be less profitable than just buying the Bitcoin amount? That's why we
Right,
say
right,
it's
right.
may not be profitable,
Right.
because if I spend 5,000 on Bitcoin now
Right.
and I mine Bitcoin for the whole year, and I make I don't make a half a Bitcoin yet,
Right, right,
and then
right,
now
right.
Bitcoin's
It's not worth
20K,
it.
and
Right,
I spent
right.
5K, and
Right.
I could have had
But
20,000.
It could be worth it for the altcoins.
It can,
though,
well, yeah,
right?
it can be
Subject
worth
to
it. It
think
actually
about
is
the
worth it. It's
interest
just
So
it's
what-
taking the
I
plunge.
I'm interested in mining
Kinda-
just because
We have a few
I'm a
miners.
tech guy. I'm interested.
Yeah,
Look
we have a
into,
few guys if you want to meet
you
with
know,
them too.
so-
We have
different
miners.
exchanges.
I want to look into.
Sorry, so which one was the one you
anonymously
mentioned that I didn't
mining.
write it down?
Which one?
You wanted to know
Having
more
it
about?
without
Ardor.
reporting.
Ardor.
Or
Okay.
without
Tor-
the tax.
So that'd be Manero. So why don't you look into Manero?
For us for next.
Yeah, that'd be
Okay.
great.
Okay.
Do
That's
you mind that?
XMR
Yeah,
ticker.
I'll do it.
Yeah. What's your name again?
Brandon.
Okay, so yeah, you'll look into Manero, and then if you do
I'll
like
find out
something on
about
the
that.
Asheville group,
I'll bring a report on mining.
yeah, in the Asheville people.
I'll do
'Cause-
Ardor.
Ardor.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, great. Thanks.
Unless there's something else.
No,
Sure.
I
I
won't
take
check
you
it
to the movies.
You take us to the movies? Yes. That was
See The Circle.
The Circle.
Yeah, I saw that.
You saw it?
Yeah. It's a
Okay.
sad future.
I will do.
Is it?
Sad
Oh, it's
future.
just.
Hey,
thing
Keller,
is
I will
totally
do.
monitored.
I will do the.
A great future.
I will
Perfect
do.
future.
I don't know. I'll do anything. You want me to work on a Bitcoin one?
Well, whatever. Now.
Do you want to do that?
So okay, for me.
Since you're Bitcoin, I was thinking, just
well,
tell us anything
no,
new on
no,
Bitcoin.
whatever you want to do.
I just want to know what's going on with them. Total
Yeah.
like Bitcoin improvement projects on Reddit and stuff people are talking about.
I will focus. I'll work on this Volcoin issue. We got a
Okay.
guy. Y'all met him at the meeting. Matt is his name. I think that's correct, Matthew.
Right.
But Matt.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So he's wanting to do this Volcoin, and he's also wanting to. He used to
that's right.
teach apparently, and he wants
Right.
to do maybe some university stuff. So I'll make a PowerPoint type of thing talking about
Was he in
Volcoin.
IBM? Something like that?
Yes, that's him. Yeah,
Do you
yeah,
want-
yeah.
what-
So Matt's quite a smart guy. So I'll work trying to get some information on that and getting like a roadmap there.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
When's the next?
They don't have it
Knoxville?
posted.
They don't have
They
it posted
didn't
yet.
say.
Are you?
I hope they do one in
Are you
December.
getting the devs for that?
Am I what?
Are you working on devs for that Vol coin?
Getting devs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we also need to get a roadmap and da-da-da.
What is the roadmap looking like? Are you talking to him often?
Matt, I just talked to him before the meeting. I mean, the guy has ideas. The guy's actually working with Iota. Matt got scouted to be an advisor for Iota.
Nice.
That's a big deal.
There you go.
All right, so I'll just
So,
do whatever.
what's-
dude.
Well,
the-
sure. Well, sure.
Okay.
You find out stuff to
Yeah.
do. Yeah, that's fine.
What's the deal between our BTC and our Bitcoin?
Our BTC and our Bitcoin.
I know they both hate each other.
Yeah, okay, so
I read it. You know, I mean, I know they both hate each other. So what's the deal?
So right, so the government taking over a coin, right? So let's pretend if the government was to take over a coin, is it likely for the government to just say, you know, no Bitcoins, and you know we're going to arrest everybody who has Bitcoins? They can, but this is a very aggressive approach.
They really couldn't kill her.
Well, they could, but it's just aggressive. It would upset people.
Well, it
quite a
costs
lot.
trillions of dollars.
And it costs money, blah, blah.
Like
yeah,
16
so
trillion.
So what's
probably.
easier to do is just to confuse people. So right now you got Bitcoin.org, which takes you to Bitcoin, and then you got Bitcoin.com, which takes you somewhere else. You got our Bitcoin, which takes you to Bitcoin. You got our BTC, which takes you to something else. And then you got you know, the Twitter pages. You know, I'm the Bitcoin Jesus, and he takes you somewhere else. And then you got Andre, who takes you to Bitcoin. So so all these little, and Lightning Network right now is another one.
Right.
There's our Lightning Network, which specifically all it talks about is all the ways it's bad and never going to happen. You know, so there's just confusing people is very cheap, basically, and so it's very profitable to do that. And like if the government was really to come after Bitcoin, they do it the cheapest way possible. And if the government was to, they would try to do it these ways. So our BTC is just a group that dislikes, so they call it Bitcoin Core. Now Bitcoin Core is funny. I could do a little report on Bitcoin Core up in one.
Yeah, but hold on, Killer. This whole ridiculousness of arresting everybody. I'll just tell you the math on it real quick, just to let you know how much it would cost.
Well, but yeah, so like, well, anyways, so there's Bitcoin Core, and this is a group of like 20 people, not a big group of people, and they control Bitcoin. They control the GitHub address, and basically they are Bitcoin is friendly to them, BTC is not friendly to them. And so, you know, there's a little bit if you want to hear the bad news, you go to BTC. If you want to hear the good news, you go to Bitcoin. You know,
so here's the cost of your arresting everybody who has Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
Just throwing out a number. Talking about $7.5 billion a month. This is what you're talking about housing these people. If you have enough prisons. Right now they're already overflowed, so you're just gonna have to build prisons. I didn't even calculate that the cost. So you're talking about $7.5 billion a month.
Yeah.
And that's like low numbers. I just put 100,000 people going to prison, and I think a lot more than 100,000 people in America own Bitcoin. That's 7.5 billion. And you're just gonna erect prisons now?
Yes.
That's even more. A prison costs a couple billion. I used to work in a prison in Afghanistan. It takes a lot of money and a lot of people. Are you gonna provide health care for them?
Right now, I don't
Okay,
know,
no, you're not. You let all the Bitcoiners die in prison. They're not even gonna have patrol officers in there. They're not gonna have.
So here's the plan for next month.
Alrighty.
Put that up there, and just whatever
So
else. comes up.
January.
I'm gonna pause this for a second.
Okay.
So this thing's done with. Doo-ka-doo.
All right.
And that concludes.
Did you get some good information, brother?
Yeah, I did. I got some more questions.
Yeah. We gotta get the camera off for a second.
Yeah,
There's some
so-
secret squirrel stuff we do when the camera goes off.
Right.
Good to hear.